Hey everyone, welcome to another exciting tutorial. In this video, we are going to build QuoteCraft AI, a full stack application using React and Spring Boot. Instead of building another CRUD application, let's build a real AI powered product. This app will allow users to enter a quote, select a style, and generate beautiful ready to share quote image using AI. And guys, we are not building just UI. We'll cover the complete flow from starting front end, backend APIs, integration, and real output. So if you want to build a production ready full stack AI project, this video is for you. Alright, so this is the application we are going to build in this video. On the screen, you can see a simple and clean UI built with React. And here we have the navigation items, a toggle theme button, and when we click on get started, it will land us to on a login page. And here we can log in with Google, and also we can create a new account. So let's log in with the Google, and then after the login it will navigate us to the generate page where we can generate the codes using AI. So here we have to give any topic for which we want to generate the code, and here we can select the style, the topic, right? And tone we can put it motivational. And then if you want to generate image also, we can select this include AI image, and here we can choose the language and image style, and let's click on generate button. And here you can see it has created a beautiful image with code, and we can also add to favorite, share, download, and copy it. If you want to download it, just hit the full cart button, and here we go. So also you can see the your recent generations, my quotes, favorites. So all this we are going to build in this video. And behind the scene, we will build a powerful backend server using Java and Spring Boot. So all this we will create in this tutorial. So yeah, let's start it. So first we will start with the project setup. These are the prerequisites. To start with the project setup, I'm going to create a new folder here, and let's give it name QuoteCraft. Now let's go to the QuoteCraft directory, and over there we'll basically add two new folders. Let's give it name backend and frontend. Okay, so to set up the frontend project, we'll use React with Vite. So this is the command that we will use to create a new project. Now let's hit this command. Okay, so the project name that we need to define over here. So let's give it some project name. Okay, the project name which I'm going to give here, QuoteCraft UI. Okay, and now let's choose here React, and we need to use TypeScript. So let's select TypeScript. Okay, let's give it no. Okay, so the project has been set up and it started on port 5173. We can see the application is running. Now we'll stop this application, and similarly we will do the project setup for backend. To set up the Spring project, I'm going to open Spring Initializer here. So you can search on the Google, and now here we will use Maven for the build tool, and we'll use Java. Spring Boot version 4 is fine. Let's give it the group name, artifact, and other details over here. Okay, we have defined all the details. Now we'll use jar as a packaging, and we'll use YAML for configuration. Java 17 is fine. Let's add all the dependencies that we need here. Okay, I've added all the dependencies: web security, JPA, and PostgreSQL driver. If we need any other dependencies, we will add it later. Let's generate it. So let's move all the files that we have inside the QuoteCraft zip folder. We'll move this to the backend folder that we have created. Okay, now we will open that directory. So I already added all the files over there, and now let's open this project in IntelliJ. Okay, now we will start this application in the local. First, let's add a configuration for Maven. So I'm going to install the packages here. Now let's run the job. Okay, there is some test cases which is failing. We can skip these test cases in a build configuration job. Like here, I'm just adding a skip test, and then let's run this job. Okay, now build is successful. Now we'll try to start this application. As we see, this application is fails to start because we have not added the data source URL. So we'll add that in the application YAML. So here I'll just add the data source configuration that we required for this project. After adding this configuration, you have to add the DB name to your local PostgreSQL server. So in the PostgreSQL server, you need to go into the databases and create here QuoteCraft. So like this, we can create a database. After adding the database to the Postgres server, you need to then start the application. Now we can see the application has initialized, and this is the QuoteCraft DB, and there are no any tables present. If we now go back to the browser and let's hit localhost 8080, we can see a login screen. This is the Spring Boot application which is running on port 8080 because we have added a Spring security. So it is basically preventing all that URLs, all the calls that is happening to backend. Okay, I'm going to stop the application now because first we will focus on the front end, then we will start with backend. Now I'm going to install few dependencies which are Axios, React Router DOM, HTML to image, and few others. Okay, to set up the Tailwind, I already have given the dependencies Tailwind and Tailwind CSS and Tailwind width. Now let's go to the width.config.ts file, and here we will add import Tailwind. Okay, import Tailwind CSS from Tailwind width, and let's add this package to these plugins. Now after this, we need to add the import Tailwind CSS to the CSS file. So the CSS file that we have here for the index.css, right at here on the top, we will add like this, and let's remove others. We don't need all this. Now after doing this, let's start npm run dev. Okay, so this is our application, and here let's check if the tailwind is working fine. So to check that, let's just add here paragraph and class name. Here we will add text to Excel. Hello. Okay. So yeah, this is working. And so let's go to this here. We'll basically delete all this. Okay. Okay, so Tailwind has been set up. Now next we will set up few configuration files like the auth.ts that basically we'll use to clear the cache. After the authentication, we'll store the token in a local storage or maybe in a cookie. So basically we'll use auth.ts to create some functions. api.ts will be have Axios instance and other functions. Mock.ts we'll use for the offline mock layer. Like we will just use a flag to get the mock data, and respectively other files like type.ts will store all the types, and there would be a theme context that will be a context for the theme. So now let's create a structure in our project. So the one folder that we'll add one is lib components. So in the lib, let's add a file auth.ts. So here basically we will create an instance for Axios, for an Axios. To do that, let's import first Axios, and here we'll just basically create one base URL API constant which will consist of a base URL. So this will be basically an instance. Okay, and here we'll basically create an interceptor for the request. Like later we'll add the token from the storage. So let's just put it here like this. And in the auth.ts we'll basically put few functions to store the token and to retrieve the token. So for that, let me add a code here. Okay, so this is basically a few functions which will help us to get the token, to set token, clear token, and also there is a function to check if the user is authenticated. Now in this function is authenticated, we'll basically need to check on the client side if that token is valid, is that token expired, right? So we will basically, we can add that conditions. To just make it easier, I am just checking here, is that token set it in the local storage, because eventually we'll call an API, and if that API gives the 401 error, right, then we will say that user is not authenticated. So in api.ts we'll change few more changes, like here token and setting the token, because now we have helper function so we can get the token. So we will add here one interceptor for the response. If we get the status 401, we'll clear the token. So these are basically the few configuration files. We'll also update here some mock data. So but before that, let's add a type file. In the type.ts we will contain all the types of all the interfaces that we will use in the application, like your favorite API response, API error. All right, so all that we will store into the types. Okay, so next we will start with the landing page. Before starting the landing page, I would need some assets. Let me copy the assets file over here. To this, we'll add few changes in the index.css file. So for that, let me add here. So we will add basically a body tag, and in the body tag, we will apply some styles. Okay, so this is the styles that we would need here, and then background image. So for the background image, I'll just put here URL, assets, light hero gradient file, and then one more URL, assets color slash light.svg, and we would and here we will add few more styles like background repeat, position, and background size. And for the dark body, we basically need this, and for the buttons we would need this, basically. So I just am applying cursor pointer to all the buttons. Okay, now let's go back to the app.tsx, and here let's remove the unused code. Now here we will do two things. One is we will set up the navigation bar, and another is we will set up the navigation outlet. Okay, so for setting up the navigation outlet, we'll basically use React Router DOM, right? So let's do here, we'll create one function for the app layout. Okay, and here we will return div, and let's add here class name. So here we will basically put public navigation bar, and after that we will put here a div. Will basically have a class name, and over here we'll put a main component that would be like the main outlet, and here we'll basically give outlet. Okay, so this outlet will contain all that route navigations that we will put into this application. So on the very top there will be a navigation bar on all the pages, and below that there will be an pages that will basically open based on the URLs, the routes, right? And after this, here we'll add a footer. So now here in the main.tsx file, we'll add few changes. So now here we will wrap this in a browser router component. Okay, inside the app, here we'll create routes. Okay, a route path, and here we'll get basically, here we'll pass element app layout. Okay, so this is the route on the very first slash route, and element that we would pass here app layout. Inside this we will add index route path login element. Okay, pass the, so if we navigate to login page, here we will basically route it to login page. Here we just giving it an element, but we will replace with this a component. Here let's give it minimum height screen. Okay, so this is our landing page. So this is the background of landing page. Let's add some styles over here with full and few more styles. The max width, max, uh, some padding margin on x-axis, and some padding on the devices, other devices. Let's give it here. So this is basically an app component. Now here we'll create one more folder where we will basically create all the pages. So The pages that we would need here, like landing page, login page, the generation page, generate page, right? The code generate page. Okay, so before implementing landing page, let's add one component for the navigation bar. For creating the navigation bar, I created a component file NavBar, and this we will use in app.tsx file. So let's add here a render function, export constant navbar. Let's just put it first the component. So now here we'll put nav tag navigation tag class name, and here we will put few styles. So let me just add it here. This is fixed as and top 0, some 50 z index, flex, width, and item should be in center, justify between, and few more. And now here we will put the links that we need in the navigation bar. So like this is a link. Here we will basically add our logo. Let's put the theme. We are not using theme, but later we will use that theme. For now, let's just use this SVG. We have here the assets, logo dark dot svg. Okay, this navigation bar we will use inside app.tsx. And let's fix this logo import. Let's import the logo here, logo. Okay, so this is the logo. We have put it inside this component. I'm going to add here few links in a constant, like this would be the base links. So now here we will just use that links. We'll create a map. Let me first put here a div class name, and I'll just put few styles here. Okay, now base link dot map. Inside this we'll create anchor tag key link dot label. Okay, so you see here we have that links. We just need to put this let's just put text slate and 700, and let's add up one more div here that we'll use basically for a login and get started button. Let's put a link to class name. This would be the styles, and let's put here get started. Now we would need here one button after the link, that basically for the mobile menu. So let's put that here. Okay, let's create a function. So this is basically the navigation items. So whenever we use button in the class name, like here, few of these styles that we will set it globally. So for that, I'm going to add here few styles that would apply on the button, like button primary, button secondary, ghost, danger, favorite active, and button like this. Okay, So now you can see that styles would apply on that button wherever we use button. So I have changed these SVGs to basically name the application in the logo, QuoteCraft, and here with this we have a navigation. This whole is the navigation bar. Okay, so next, before moving on the hero section, let's first implement the theme, light and dark theme in the application. So for that, we'll basically create a theme provider and a theme context. Okay, I'm going to add here a file and we'll give it name theme context.tsx. Inside this, let's first create a type theme. We'll have two themes, light and dark, and then we will create a interface theme context type theme and toggle theme. Also we need one set theme. Okay, now next we'll create constant theme context. Okay, like this we'll create theme context. So by default we will set it dark theme, and let's create a function here, apply theme, and for the apply theme we'll basically choose first, select the document, the root element, root document element, and then we will apply root dot class list dot toggle dark theme is equal to dark. Now here we'll create a theme provider. So for the theme provider, here we'll set it dark theme by default, and here let's add use effect. So from the save theme we'll get the theme, and here we'll check if save theme. So here we'll first check initial theme. Okay, save theme. So basically we are checking here the save theme, if it is in light or if it is dark, right? Then we'll just return the save theme, else by default we'll return the dark theme. Okay, and here let's add the function set theme, set theme state, and local storage will set that new theme, and we'll apply that theme, new theme. And in the toggle theme, we'll check if the theme is light, then we will toggle it to dark, else light, right? Then we'll set that theme. Okay, like this. So this is our this is our theme provider and the theme context file. Now this we will use, we'll wrap. Now this we will wrap to the application. So let's just add here React node. Okay, so this is the theme provider. Now let's go back to the main.tsx, and now here we'll use that theme provider. And now we need to make few changes inside this file. Let's put it this. So this is the dark theme. Okay, so basically we need to give the correct path. We were not giving the correct path for the dark body, so this is what we need to make one change. Now the next basically we'll add one theme toggle button here. So for creating the theme toggle button, I'm going to add one component, theme toggle, inside the components, and let's add here export constant theme toggle. Also we would need one hook for the theme constant. So I'm just putting here one use theme context hook that basically return the context of that theme. Okay, if there is not context, it will return just an error, but because we have set it the dark theme, so we will return the context of that theme, and if we're not changing, right, that context will not change. If any of the component we have outside the theme provider, then there would not be able to find that context. That for handling that, we have added here, it will just return a new error, throw a new error if the context is not found. So let's use this book here, theme context, and let's put this button. Let's put a button here, this button. Okay. If the theme is dark, we will put a sun icon, else moon icon, right? So these are the styles basically. Now we'll use this theme context inside the navigation bar right here. Okay, so this is basically the use theme context hook, and we have used that in the theme toggle, and theme toggle we have used in the navigation bar. Now we can see this is the uh, so this is the button for toggling the theme. Okay, so I've imported one font file for the font poppins, and also here just created one theme tag, and here I added few more things and added few more attributes to this file, like add the theme rule and the custom variant. Okay, so here we are using font poppins because earlier it was not imported, and this is the navigation bar here. Now when we toggle it, this is the light theme and this is the dark theme. Okay, so in the navigation bar, let's use a theme here. Use the context, and now here if theme is equal to dark, then low dark, low light. Let's just put it low dark here, low light. Okay, so this is basically the light and dark logos. For the mobile, we'll just put it here, constant open mobile menu, set mobile menu. Okay, and now here we'll just put in this div, after this div, we will basically put if the open mobile menu. So let's add here div class name. Here I'll just put few styles, and also we'll check if the menu is opened, then we'll just add these styles. Rest would be the same. This would be for slash the way we have used it, slash login, and this let's put here just these things. Okay, so this is basically we have put it for the mobile. Here we have added few styles, and if the menu is open, then we will add few this one translate x0, else we will translate the full, and with the base links we'll basically map all the links, and there would be a link to get started and the button to close the menu. So if we go back, and if we are, let's say, on the mobile device, so this is basically for the mobile device, we don't need this get started if we are on the mobile, right? Okay, so this get started we are hiding when we open the website in mobile devices. There we'll get this get started, right? and let's add few just some padding. So I have given a margin top 50 if the mobile menu is open. So if we open this mobile menu, we'll add some margin from the top, and here we have all that links. Okay, so next we will create the hero section. For the hero section, I'm going to basically put a page. I'm basically going to add a page landing page. So landing page is already there, right? The component, this component we have created, but let's implement this component. Export default function landing page. Okay, and here let's implement the render function. We'll put this section class name. Now here we will put mx margin x auto flex width full max width, let's give it 6xl flex colon and few more. Let me add that. Okay, so this is item center padding and padding top text center and some more styles. And now here we will add one div. So this would be the div. Okay, so let's use this landing page over here in app.tsx. So basically for that, I'll just put here, this is the app layout. Okay, so this is basically the text that we have added. Now here if we go to get started, we'll get the login page, right? And if we go back to the home page, here we'll get that section for the landing page. Okay, now in this landing page, we'll add few more sections. Like we need the headings. So I'm going to put here this heading. This is the heading on landing page, some text like this. And we need one more paragraph over here. So this is the paragraph. And also we will add get started and explore features link. So this is the login link, get started and explore features. So this is two buttons, links that we have added over here. So this section is complete section basically for the hero section. And next in this section page we'll add, and in this landing page we will add some more sections. So let's add over here. Okay, so now here we will add one more section for the generate, and let's put the class name So here we will add few styles. So these are the styles for the generate section, and here we'll add one div. Okay, so this is the div, right? So this is basically for the generate section. This is just a text to make this landing page more better. And here we will add one more div. This basically we will wrap into the section. So here we will add one more section for community. And this div here. Okay, so this is for the community section. Okay. Now if we click on generate, this will come to this generate community. This is the community. Okay, so this is I have changed the margin top to 16. this looks more better. Even if we check the mobile design, we need to keep in mind this should be responsive. Okay, so this looks good in mobile as well. If you want to decrease the space over here, we can decrease it, but yeah, this looks better. Now here we'll add one more section that would be for features. For creating the section for feature, I'm going to add few text in the constant. So this is the feature card. Okay, and here I'm giving a title and some description. Okay, and now these feature cards we will use in the feature sections. Let's put here section ID features. So let's put first some paragraph and heading. Okay, and now in this section we'll basically put a div. In the div, let's add the class name, and here we'll add the styles. Okay, now feature cards dot map for each card. We put article tag. Okay, so this is the article tag that I put it over here for features card. Here we have we're using card dot title and the card dot description. Okay, so this is the section for feature, and now I'm going to add one more section for pricing. So let me just put it over here. Okay, the same section, all the attributes same, the class name, styles, just added here the one section for pricing. Only the difference is the text, rest is same as the previous sections. Okay, so this is the pricing section. Now if we click on generate, we'll come to generate section. This is community, the features and pricing. Okay, so this is the landing page. Next we will create the sign in page when user will click on the get started button. Okay, so also we can see the theme, inner light theme. This is how it looks. Okay, so next we will create a login page. Now when we'll click on get started, it will navigate to the login page. So this is the login page file, and let's add here export constant login page. Okay, let's add a render function return, and here we'll add few states like constant email, set email, password, navigate, loading and error state. Okay, also we will need to add the Google login. So for that I'm going to add a state here, Google login. Okay, so now after this, first we will create a section. Let's put it here main. Instead of putting main, we can just have one section. Here we'll put div. In this div, let's add class name, and here I will add few styles. So these are the styles that we need here. This we will basically put in the center of the screen, and after that I'll just add one more two divs. This is just a decorative element. So yeah, this is like login page, and let me just change this in the app.tsx. So here I'll put login page. Okay, here we'll add one more divs. Here we'll add one basically section, and let's put a class name in the class name we'll add some styles. Okay, these are the styles that we need in the section. Now here let's add a div element, div under this class name. Let's put here sm max auto as small for width full. So this is the class. Let me just add this into the styles. Okay, so this is the class which I've added. And now here let's go back to login page. Inside this div I'll just add one more div section. This div section is basically containing a heading, welcome back, and generate and save original AI codes in seconds. Let's format this. Okay, like this. Now after this we will create a form. To start with the form, let's add here a divs element. In the div element, let's add here class name. In this class name I'll put just some styles. Let me just add those styles that we need here. Okay, these are the styles that we need in this section. Now we'll start here the form. Inside the form we'll put class name space and let's put here on submit. For now let's just give it blank. Okay, now here I'll add the label and the input fields. So for the label, like this is the label for email address, and then we will have the div input, and then we will have the input. Okay, this is the input, and with having some styles. Okay. So this is the email address input. Okay, let me format it. Okay, after this form, let me just wrap this into a div element. Here let's add class name merchant top. Okay, so this is the div element email feed, and here we'll have password. Okay, for the password everything will be remain same the way we have put it this div element for the email for email, like this. So let's add the div for password. Here we put class name, some space, and then we'll have here label. Okay, so here I just put in this div class name, flex item center and justify between, and this label the password have in this label just put it some styles over here and the password text. Also it next to that there will be a forgot password. Okay, so this is the element for forgot password. Is the forgot password, and now we'll add the input for forgot password. So here we'll get that forgot input password. This would be the input id, password, name, type, autocomplete, and on change we'll just set to the state that password, and these are the styles that we are going to use for the password field. This is the same that we have put it for the input field for email. So this was the div element for password. Okay, so next to that we'll put here, if there is an error, we'll just display one div element. This div elements let add class name, some styles. Okay, this is the styles, rounded Excel, background. In for the dark, this is the background and border, and then the text, dark text color. Item would be in center, some gap, and the backdrop. Okay, here we'll put SVG. This is the SVG. Okay. Now after this, we'll just have the button, right, to submit the form. For that, let's add a div, and here we'll just put this like button. Okay, in this submit button, I'll just put this the button over here. So this would be the button. Okay, then submit. These are the styles for this button. Okay, and then we'll have this if the loading, then we'll just display logged in, right? If this is logging, and if we user have not clicked on that button, it's just display sign in. Okay, this is the div element for submit button. So after next to this form, we'll just have a Google sign in, or continue with like Google sign in. This is the sign in. I just added over here this style to add the background gradient color. Okay, after this form, let's put it here, a div element. And in this div element, we'll just put class name, margin top 8. And here we'll have one div section that basically will put it a text or continue with. So this is basically a div section to put it as a text over here with a line or continue with, right? And after that, after this div, we'll add here Google sign in button. Okay, so to add the Google sign in button, we need a library. Let me just stop the application, and here we will add one library, React Auth Google. Install. Okay, so here we'll get that. We'll just create one div section. This is the div section on Google Success. Let's create a method for on Google Success. This is Google login button. Start this application. We need to basically wrap this in a Google Auth provider. So in the app.tsx file, at here, let's add this auth provider, and here we'll just put client ID. Okay, for the client ID, we'll just use the client ID. Let me put here a constant. Okay, this Google client ID. Right, this is the continue with Google button, and let's go back to login page. So here we'll just put merchant top. Right, this is continue with Google button. Also, below to that, we will create one section. Basically, if the user is new to this website, we'll just put a create an account link. Okay, so after this div and this div, we'll put here. Okay, now before implementing this page, the Google sign in and the login page, we'll create one page for the registering the account. Create an account. Okay, so next we will create the register page. Now if we see our website here on the get started, we created the login page. When user will click on create an account, this will navigate to register page. Okay, so let's go back in the code, and here we will add register page. Let's add the function spot constant register page, and inside this we will add a return function, the return render the render element. Now here I'll add few states which we needed for this page, as we have added in this the login page. Okay, here we'll create section, class name, and here we will add the styles that we need for the register section. These are the styles which I added over here, and then we will add a div element. In this div element, let's first add the styles. So the styles that we need, let me put it. Okay, these are the styles: width full, max width medium, width full, round border, and the background white, shadow for dark theme. This would be the styles. And let's add here few text. Okay, this is the get started, create your account, and the other text. So let's go back to the app.tsx file, and inside this we will add route register element register page. Okay, so this is the register page. After this we will create a form. And arrows. Okay, so this is the form element, Inside this we will put email address and password. So this is the div element for the email address and for the password. We need to basically add this form group. We basically need to add this form group class styles in the styles.css. For us it's index.css. Let's add just it's okay. So I'm going to add few more styles that we would need, like the form group, form row, filter bar, label, input, select, right? All this would need it. Okay, so this is our inputs for email and password. Let's go back to register page. Okay, now here we will just add, if there is any error we will display the error, and after that I'll just add one button for create an account. So this is the button. Okay, and if there is already a, and if user has already an account, we'll give option to go back to the login screen. So this is for that. Okay, the link basically. This. Okay, so this was the register page. Now in this video I'm just going to implement the Google login. uh, Also I'll create a API for email address and password login. Okay, so next we will implement the Google authentication. Now here if we see, there is no any authentication client found. And now what we have to do is basically we need to create an o- so basically we need to create a Google client ID that we can create it using Firebase, or you can also create it through the Google Cloud Console. So let's do that, and that Google ID we will use in the front end and back end to basically authenticate the user with Google sign in. To create the Google client ID for the Google sign in, what you need to do is, okay, now here in the login page, and let me see the app.tsx, we need to use Google client ID, and that we need to put it in the dot environment, this with Google client ID. So you need to basically log in the Google Cloud Console, and there you need to create a project. So like this we will create QuoteCraft, and let's hit create. Okay, so let's select this project, the project that you want to create the Google auth client IDs. Okay, now here we will create credentials. We need to create the auth client ID, and over here first we need to configure consent screen. Okay, let's add here the name of app, QuoteCraft. Okay, let's click on continue, finish, and create. Okay, our consent is created. Now we'll create the auth client. Application type web application. Here we will add the URI. So for now we'll just add the localhost URI, localhost. and the port number that we are using 5173. Let's add one more port number. So if we use that later so I just add it over here, so we don't need to add again. And you can also add the authorized redirect URI, but let's leave it blank and let's go and create it. Now you can download this JSON, and we just need to copy the client ID, and this client ID we will put it in the application dot environment. Let's create a dot environment file dot environment, and here we need to put with Google client ID. Let's say with Google client ID, and I'll just paste it my client ID here, and let's restart the application. Okay, let's click on continue with Google. Now we can see we can sign in with QuoteCraft application. Here we can just select the address and click continue. Okay, so now here, because we have not started on the backend yet, we'll basically, after the sign in here in the Google success, we'll get the response from the Google sign in. Basically we'll here pass the ID token to the backend, and that the backend will create the JWT token for us. Okay, so after signing, okay, now the for the backend will handle the registering the user, saving the user to the database, and also creating the JWT token. So we'll just leave it this blank. Even let's put it to do implement Google logic. Here you can send this response credential to the backend, and then we will implement that. So once we get the response from the Google sign in, here first let's put set Google login true, set error blank, and now here we'll call the backend. We'll just add the code here, so later we don't need to implement it, we can directly use it. So backend we will start after completing the pages on front end. So let's add a here folder API. Inside this I'll just add one file auth.ts, and let's hit here export constant sign in with Google, and here we will just expect there should be an ID token that we will pass. And now here we will call the API, the backend API. Okay, in this API we will get it from the client that we configured it earlier. And auth response, let's put the auth response in the types. Now this will basically return the promise auth response. Okay, and here let's put it try catch. So in the login page, now it will call sign in with Google response. Wait. Okay, and after this we will set token response.access token and navigate to app generate. Okay, we'll basically navigate to the dashboard page. Set token, we have created this function earlier, if you remember. With this basically put into the local storage set token. Okay, we can also create cookies, but let's just keep this local storage. default just to make it simpler. Okay, so now after the sign in page, before navigating to the dashboard page after the sign in with Google, let's first handle it the navigation in the app.tsx file. Now we have two options here. Either we can just use app layout, right? Like this over here. Another option is we can create an separate function for the authenticated routes. Okay, so let's try that. Okay, now next we will create the dashboard page. After the sign in, user will navigate to the dashboard page where user can create the quotes and image quote, right? So for creating the quote on the dashboard, basically what we can do here, we can make the changes in this app.tsx in the routes. Now here we can give the option to the user like the route path over here, and now we can add here. Let me just bring this. Okay, so route, and here we'll just put path app and then element protected app content. Okay, like we will just add the protected app elements. So before implementing the protected routes, we need to first create the protected route component that basically will wrap to all that protected elements. So for that, let me add here in the component protected route.tsx. So inside this, we'll create one type protected route props children export protected route. Okay, and here we will just add a logic if is not authenticated, then navigate to login, as we will return the children. Okay, so now this protected route will use over here protected route. So for the protected route, I'll just add a function here, app layout protected, and inside this we'll just put return this element. Okay, and this we will put it this here. Let's try to use this at here, and over here let's put route index protected dashboard. Okay, so this is basically our route for the slash app urls with the protected routes. Okay, now after this login page, so now here in the login page, using the Google sign in, I'll just add temporary here submit, and I'll just temporarily navigate to the slash app URL. So for that, let's put here constant on submit. and we'll just put navigate slash app generate. Okay, so I'm just going to try if this works with the protected routes, right? So yeah, like this. Now we'll basically replace this with the protected navbar. Okay, we can also use the navbar, it is not any problem, but I'm just trying to separate out the login authentication, the login routes. So here let's put protected navbar.tsx. Okay, let's just copy this navbar and we'll use put it here. And for this now we'll use, this would be our base links. Okay, and after that we'll just check here the theme and let's just put it here, the profile option. Basically we'll put the profile menu in this navigation bar, and after that I'll just put, I'll keep the logo same, and here label, here I'll just add one user fact. Okay, this is basically, let's put it here, one constant navigate. This is basically for the checking if the user is authenticated or not, right? So if not is authenticated, okay, we will navigate to login. Okay, now this protected navbar will use in the protected component, sorry, in the protected nav app component, app layout component. Okay, at here like this. Okay, so now here we don't need that get started button, so let's remove that. Instead of that we'll create basically option, a button for, so instead of that we create a button for the profile and setting. Okay, and for basically handling the user icon profile. Let's remove this, and here we'll put the div section, user icon, setting icons, and logout icon. Okay, so now here instead of putting the get started link, I'll just remove this, and here we will put the option to upgrade account. So let's first put here option to upgrade, and after that we will put the uh, profile setting or the profile menu. Okay, so for the profile menu we'll create a button here. So let me just put this button and the user icon. So this is the button for the profile icon, the profile menu is right. And when user click on this button, So we'll basically toggle on click set profile open true, right? And here if the profile is open, we will display the option to log out and profile and settings. So like this, profile and setting at the logout. Okay, so this is our this app slash dashboard. So this is our page for the dashboard page. With this we will basically implement uh, other the okay. So we need to remove this get started from the mobile, also the mobile menu. Okay, so this is our protected nav bar. Now we will implement here on this. Okay, so here we will put the route path generate. Okay, the generate page basically. In this we will replace this with the app generate. Okay, and in the generate here we will let's add a generate page. Let's create a generate page. Let's use the generate page over here. Okay, and in the login page also this will navigate to app generate only. And so right here this is fine, right? So to get started, we'll come to the app generate page. Also in the nav bar, protected nav bar, so just put here its component. Let's just label. So if the navigation is active, we'll just display a purple color, right? This is one small change that I've added in this protected nav bar. Also, this would apply similar in the mobile. Let's replace with the nav link here also. Okay, we check the mobile view. This is the mobile view. Okay. Now next we will implement the generate page. So for generate page, on the generate page, we will have two sections basically. One section is where we will fill all the text field, where we'll have all the options which code we want to generate, and this page will divide into the two sections. One where there will be a preview area, and another it will ask which code we have to generate it. Okay, so now in this generate page we will create a section. So let's give this name a section for the generate page, and here we'll give the class name page, and few of the styles I will add in the index.css. Okay, and then then let's go back to this section generate page. Now here we'll create a header. So in this header I'll put some styles. Okay, and let's add some text in this section. Okay, so this is this section in the generate page. And now after this, we will create one div. Inside that div, we'll just basically put the two more section in a column, in a grid. Let's say grid gap of 5, grid columns 2. Okay, and in this we'll basically put two columns. One is the quote form and another is quote preview. So let's create the quote form component. Quote form component in the component section. Let's put here a new folder, generate, and inside this we'll put quote form.tsx, export constant quote form, and I'll just add some props over here. Let's add type quote form props, loading, error, on submit. For the on submit, we would need basically few fields. So for that, I'm going to add an interface here, basically and type generate params. So and to generate params, we will pass on submit. Okay, and let's return it here. Promise wait. Okay, so inside this, let's put return function. Here we'll put a return element. So in the return element, we'll just let's just put here a div element. In this div element, I'll add few styles, class name. Okay, these are the styles. And here we'll put some headings and the paragraph. This is the heading and paragraph. Let's put this in the generate page, dot form, loading. Here we'll put constant loading, set loading, error, on submit. Generate params, and this on submit we will pass it over here. Okay, so this is the code form, and here we get this code form. Let's implement this code form. We need to add four more fields inside this. So now here I'll put a form and I'll submit. Let's add a function here and I'll submit. Okay, inside this, let's add a div element. Here put class name, form group, and inside this I'll just put label and inputs. Okay, and let's add the states that we need. Constant topic input. Okay, and on change, Okay, this is the topic. This is just give a paragraph topic input dot length like this. Okay, 100 max. And after this, we will display the topics in a chip. Okay, so let me add a constant here, the topics that we need. So these are the topics, and also we need some tones. How we add the tones that we can select it on generating the keyword, like motivational, inspirational, professional, funny, etc. And after this, here, so let me just add one div element. In this div element, I'll put last name and some styles. Okay, tone pills. So this tone pills is a custom class. Let me just copy these styles. Okay, so this styles we will put into the index.css. So these are the custom styles. Okay, inside this we'll just add topics dot map. Okay, and here we'll put a button. That button basically for a chip to select which item that we need. Okay, so these are the topics. And similarly, we need the tones div element. We add here. This is for tones. So now we will put a few more fields in this form. So we have added the topics and tone. And now for this keyword form, let me add the max length property. So we can set the max length for the keyword. We would need here the length, constant length, right? Like this. I'm going to just replace this with just added few more states that we would need it. Now after this div, we'll add one div here to include the image in the keyword to generate the keyword for the for a image with an image. So let's add here class name, and I'll just add these styles here. Then we need here a label. This is the label. include AI image. Okay, optional. If include AI image, let's add here. If include AI image, then we will just, if include image, then we will put a section here, div last name, and let's add it here. And then we will add few more fields, like we would need the language. Okay, so this language, I'll just put it here, the language, English, Hindi, Spanish, like this would be some languages. Okay, also we would need image styles, so let's add here some image styles. Okay, so these are the image styles that I'll just add over here. So let me just copy this. Okay, or we can just put a we just need to put a similar div element, a similar section for containing the image styles. Okay, so let's add it here. Okay, this is for the image style. And then after that, if there is an error, then we'll display the error. Let's add the error after this. Okay, and then finally we will add the button to generate the AI codes. So this is the button for type submit. Okay, like this. Okay, so this is basically the form, the keyword form that we have added in the generate page. Now let's add one section for the preview in the generate page. Okay, so now in the pages I'll add one component, the page basically, or let's add into the components directly in the generate folder. So here I'll just add QuoteCraft.tsx. Okay, and here let's add that function, export function quote preview. And then we would need a type. So this is the type, and this we will create one keyword type in the types.ts. So let's add over here this interface. Okay, so these are basically the fields, key values. These are the keys, properties that we added in the keyword type, id, topic, tone, length, prompt, and others. Okay, so let's go back to this and we'll export from types, and here we will basically put like this, loading, include image, quote, and on toggle favorite. And in this we'll just put return. So first I'll just add a div element here, and let's put class name. In this class names I'll just add few styles. Okay, so these are the styles that we would need in this div section. After that, here we put preview. Let's also use this component in the generate page. So this will be the preview section. Let's go back to the cure preview, and here we'll just create some more sections. So this will be one more section. If not queued and not loading, we'll just display a placeholder section, okay, like this. Now if loading page, right, then we'll just display this section. Okay, and now after the generating the quote, right, we'll display basically a section, the quote card. So let's add here quote card component. File quote card.tsx. Okay, in this quote card, let's first declare a type. Okay, so we will basically pass these props into this card. Okay, now we'll put export default function quote card. Okay, and here I'll just put a return statement, and in the return I'll just put return a div element, div. Okay, let's add here the class name, quote card wrapper. This will be the custom style. Okay, so few more styles that we need to put into the index.css. Let's add over here. So these are the quote image, quote card. Okay, this all the styles. I'll basically add this styles file in the description of this video, so don't worry on that. And let's come back to now in this card section. So after this, we'll basically create a card. Inside this, let's add a div element, and we'll just give the class name code card. And once we get that email, oh sorry, once, okay, so when we will generate the image, we'll basically display the image, okay, over here. And below to this, we'll just give the cure text, and also here there would be one div section where we'll display the chips, uh, the fields, the tone topics that we have selected. And after this div, we'll create the action bar. Okay, here we'll create action bar, action buttons. Okay, so let's put this inside the div element, the div tag. Okay, and now here first I'll put it one button for copy, for copy the keyword. Okay, on click, this will call copy keyword. So for that, let me just add here one state, the copied, and after this copy keyword, in the copy keyword I'll just put navigator.clipboard.write text keyword text. That will basically will, because we are copying that text, set copy true and set timeout. Also, if user has to download the image, we'll use the library html to image, okay, to save that image to png. So here let's add the download image function. Also we would need here a ref, so let me add the one card ref here, constant card ref, and this card ref, we'll use it here. Okay, let's change this to use ref. Okay, in the download image, if not card ref dot current will basically return, and then let's put try catch. Here we'll just put the code to downloading the image. So for this we'll just use to.png function, and we'll pass the card ref dot current and the pixel ratio, background color, all of the things we will pass it over here. And let's add this state constant downloading. Okay, and let's say set downloading false. Better to this into finally, so both the try and catch can execute this. Okay, this will execute in the after the final in the finally section. So this is basically downloading the complete section. Download image with Kio. Okay, and if we just need download image, if not image URL, return, else we will just put this over here. Okay, so this is basically the functions for the actions, right? So now here we will add few more action buttons. So here image URL button, let's put this type button. On click, download image, class name, here we'll put class name button, secondary and smalls, and here let's just put download icon, and else here we'll just put button type button. Okay, so like this. Okay, so this is the button for downloading the image with Qt, and that was just to download the image only. Okay, so after this, here I'll just show you how it will look. So in the generate page, when we'll click on submit, okay, let's implement this. So here I'll just add one more state, is generating image, and this we will pass it into this include image, and here we'll pass Qt, and on toggle favorite. So here we'll just create a function. Okay, and over here just put it this. Okay, so this is the Qt, and now on submit, right? Okay, in the on submit over here, let's set is generating image, and then I'll put try catch. So now here we'll check if include image, then we'll put mapped onto. So let me just put here. So here first we'll check the Qt style. that is the quote dot tone. Okay, and then we'll just go with constant response, and here await in the API folders. So let's add here quote.ts, and here we'll create export constant generate quote with image, and here we'll send the data. So this basically return the promise quote. So here we'll basically call the API return let's import the API, and here we'll return response dot data dot content. Here we'll just API dot post and data. So API post API post quote, and the path, the API path would be here. This is the path and the data, and after this we'll get response dot data. Okay, and now let's go back to generate page, and here in the generate page we'll basically call generate quote with image, and I'll just put this into the here. Okay, so this we will send the language quote style, image style, and theme, and in this set quote we will basically set the response. Now here else we'll just call this export constant generate quote generate. For this we basically need to send the URL like this. Okay, and here we'll set constant response topic dot topic tone quote dot tone and length. After we get the response we'll call set quote response. Okay, and here finally set loading for set is image generating. Okay, so this is our generate page. So for now, if we'll click on this, we'll just get an error. Okay, so on submit, here in the quote form, we basically need to handle it here. So let's do that. Let me just put it inside this. So here we'll check if not topic. Just put this topic use memo, and here I'll just call if not topic return, else await on submit, topic tone length include image language and image style. Okay, so now if we click on generate, this basically make an API call currently. Okay, so if we click on generate, this is getting failed because the server is not started and we have not implemented the backend yet. So this will make an basically API call. But we can see the payload. Okay, this is the payload. Here we are sending this data topic and success, and if we include this image, so it will call image generate that data and all the theme and code style language. Okay, so we'll start with the backend now. In the backend, I'll first go with the package structure, how we'll set up our package layout. So for that we need few folders, a few directories that we will create it here. So let's just add a package. We would need config. Okay. So these are the basic packages which I added in this application. Also let me add one more package for AI. Okay, so these all are the packages. So first we will implement the core entities. For particular this application, we would need the entities. So entities that we would need is user, quote, favorite. Okay, so these are basically the three entities that we will use in this application. User will have ID, email. So for these three entities, these are the basically columns that we would need it, like ID, email, password, hash, and created ad. and these all are the variables, the member variables, which we will put into the entities. So let's go back to the code, and here we will create those entities. Let's first put it user, and favorite. Okay, so for user, let's give this as entity, and table name users. Okay, so here we need add id attribute. Let's add here generated value, strategy, generation type dot identity. Okay, and I'm going to add other fields, other attributes that we would need, like email, password, and created at. Okay, so these are the other fields, other member variables. And also we will add few functions like pre-persist. This will basically set the date created at instant.now. Whenever we'll save the record in this entity, in the created at, date will automatically set, right? We don't need to explicitly set the date. Also we would need some getter setter, so let me add those over here. Generate getter and setters. Okay, so this is the user entity. Now we'll implement our next entity, that is quote. Let's put it here as add entity, and we will table name equal to quotes. Also we'll put it here indexes. This is, if you want you can put it, but it is better to index the value. When you will search it, it will help us to perform the queries better. Like we can put it name index, and let's give it the name of the index, and the column list on which column we need to apply this index. Let's put it user, we'll put it this, let we put it this later. Let's just first add the id attribute. Now here we'll put private no user id. This user id will be foreign key, right? For that we'll basically make a relation column name user id label false. Let me add here few more fields that we needed, like topic, tone, length, prompt, result, and created at. So the columns list we can add here now. After this also we need language, quotes type. Let me put all the others field where that we needed the columns. Now let's add all the getter setters. So this is basically the quote entity. In the quote entity, these are the fields, these are the values, these are the variables, the columns that we have added. Okay, so next we'll implement favorite. For the favorite, let's just add this. Okay, id, user id, quote id, and created at. Let's give this entity table fav favorites, and I'll just put here few constraints. These are unique constraint column, basically the user id and quote id. Okay, now here we will put all the getter and setters. Okay, so this was the three entities that basically we will play on in this application around the surrounding these three. We will mostly use all these three entities in this application. Okay, so after this, now we can create the repositories. Okay, so in the repository we will add interface user repository. In the user repository, this we will extend JPA repository user. Here I'll just put two methods: find by email, ignore case, exist by email, ignore case. Okay, now let's add the other two repositories: Quote repository interface, and extend this JPA repository, and the param we will pass that quote and no type. Okay. And inside this also I'll add two methods that we basically needed: find by user id and don't containing ignore case, topic containing ignore case. We'll pass basically user id, don't, topic, and pageable, and optional find by id and user id. Okay. Using this basically we'll fetch all the quotes from the UI. Next we need favorite favorite post. In the favorite repository, let's first extend this, extends JPA repository favorite and long. Okay, inside this we will use few methods. This would be the method. Okay, so this was our repositories.